so as we can leave the university not only with the theories, but the practical bit of it. The world right now is going STEM. We have a whole faculty of science, but how far have they put the things that they learn in their class into practice? I've not seen a student-made robot. I've not seen even a bicycle being made by the students. So I believe we are still lagging behind when it comes to technology. Uh, as students of Gulu University, the guild, we have a lot to do other than just executing social activities. Uh, Once you go to our laboratories, they are lagging behind. But can't we just put aside 5 million and we make a contribution and we buy some lab equipment?
Okay.
Once you look into the various classes, we have very dilapidated structures, for example, like the seats. But we have students, for example, of biosystems and engineering. These are the things that they study. How about we empower them and they make, for example, seats at a subsidized price?
All right.
So you're serving the students, but at the same time, you're also empowering them.
Okay.
And they also stand similar on another pillar of accountability and transparency. Each and every semester, we pay functional fees. And they, not like other universities, for example, whereby they pay functional fees twice an academic year. But where is the value of these monies that we pay? This is a question of accountability.
Accountability. Okay. In the interest of time, let me cut over to Mr. Fahad Aziz. Yes. The same question to you.
Well, thank you so much, moderator. I personally have never participated in leadership in Gulu. That has not been my goal. But somehow things changed through my experience that I had at the university. And I came at a time when the university was really changing. And one of the greatest change was how our tuition policy was brought about. Because according to the university, previously they gave amnesties to students to sit for papers, but they took advantage of that. As such, it plunged the university into billions of debts. And that's why in 2024, they assumed a very stringent and strict tuition policy that requires zero balance. And I personally, during that time, I became a victim. 2024, I remember, and it was even a nationally broadcasted activity event where 500 students, the headline was 500 students from Gulu University have not been allowed to sit for papers. And that was really a very painful experience. But little did I know that my journey from year one to year two is going to be marred by that crisis. And I missed papers. I missed like 12 papers, not until our dean called me and advised me, Aziz, you shouldn't continue with the current class, you should go to the previous class and finish your papers. And wasn't not the only person, because I, for once, I believe in justice, but I believe we will have not served justice until justice is served to everyone. I saw others also go through the same experience. Experience like that changes people, and it's something that also inspired me that why not, from the people who are going through these challenges, should rise a person who shares those similar challenges. Perhaps the insight he has from what he has been going through, it can give him some sort of a unique vision and passion to chase for what is right.
Okay.
And for those who like reading, they have been following my articles through the groups I've been publishing and commenting on the social issues affecting students. And through my articles, I've suggested that the best way we can go through a tuition crisis in Gulu University can only be through establishing a, a funding program, which many of us here have believed it is also a good solution. And in that case, the funding program would work with from a number of perspectives. In my opinion, the first thing we had last year, we had a cancer run, where that was graced by the VC and Betty Aola Chan herself.
Allow me to cut you there.
Thank you.
Said we are working with time. I think we'll have 2 to 3 minutes each with this question. So let me start off with you, Tumisime. We've been hearing a theme that is their funding and all that. But what current university policy right now, in your view, affects the students' welfare most, and how would you address that?
All right, thank you so much. We have a number of harsh investor policies in place that directly affect the biggest stakeholder, those are the students. But the most pressing one, the one that is always on the tips of every student is the zero tuition policy. One, it has now existed for 2 years, but different guild governments have come in with just one thing, advocating. But I believe we can do more than advocating. I've always told students that let us not put all our eggs in one basket. What if advocating fails? Will the other students be desperate and withdraw from their studies or sign dead years? So, my view is simple. Let us establish a guild scholarship fund, a fund whereby we shall have to bring everyone on board, including the convocation. Gulu University has existed for over 22 years, and it has produced a number of people within Uganda and even outside Uganda. But these people have a body that brings them together. Have we used them enough? They're always more than willing to help the students of Gulu University. So it's time we bring them on board. And this can only happen if we do it the formal way. And this is what we are going to do if I'm elected the guild president. Then another way is we have also institutions within the Gulu community, ranging from banks, whereby we are the people that support them. These are the banks that we use, for example, to pay our tuitions. We also have like MTN Service Center, Airtel Service Center. So how have we engaged these various institutions? These people have what we call a corporate social responsibility. They give back to the community. And I think we are the people that really contribute to their businesses. So it's high time now we reach out to them and we tap into such opportunities that are waiting for us. Then, like my comrade Aziz had spoken before, we have seen runs being made, for example, for dinners. We can all testify this. But how about right now we do it for a noble cause? We do it to help the student of Gulu University who cannot be able to fully register. We have also seen car wash. How many cars are within Gulu City? Can't we conduct a car wash that can help us suggest money and fund this scholarship? And there are also a number of well-wishers outside here who would really wish to help a student once approached. So, in my opinion, let us have a plan B apart from advocating, and those are the various ways we can be able to solicit monies for the Guild Scholarship Fund. Imagine if we solicit about 100 million, how many students can be helped? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Against the policies, the guidelines.
Thank you so much. That's a very good question. You know, any university, they have their policy. Now, Gulu University has been established with a background to transform the community. Based on the insurgency that happened in northern Uganda. And to transform community, that means you need to give opportunity to students, even if from a peasant background. You can imagine 90% of the students who study in Gulu University, they are facing these challenges of policy. Now, if a policy that is pressing students of Gulu University, it is our right as stakeholders to advocate and tell them that this is not right. And they open the door, because now when the stakeholders, they're facing challenges, and now what should be the solution? So any challenges that we face, it cannot clash, because we keep on advocating as the stakeholders of the university. Our welfare need to be addressed. Therefore, the resolution that can be made, the best strategy is that they should understand the situation that student goes through.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right. Now, I had mention of that is accommodation. Or what? Maybe let me get to you, Jen.
I think the welfare is specifically on accommodation. Now, first, there's always a hostel visit by the Minister of Campus Affairs and then the Dean of Students. But normally this is only done once in a semester and not constantly checked on. And every hostel is aware that the university and the guild is actually coming. So all of them prepare, even those who have been putting students at the worst situation ever. And me, I think that there's need to constantly and surprisingly surprise attack on these hostels, and we check what is actually on ground. So because students cannot just be left to stay there, we need a set standard for these people so that our students are not affected because of dirty environment, and the guild already have a ministry concern. So it's about engaging the minister, engaging the office of the dean, and then engaging their hostel owners to understand that there is need for standard because the university is about standard.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope I do have something to do with academics. How would you ensure that the students' voices and concerns are addressed?
Thank you so much, the moderator. Honestly, every student at Gulu University has come for only one purpose, and that is academic. Everyone has a background of academic. But Gulu University was established with a very concise and concrete ideas from very well organized people. And it was the first of its kind to be established in northern Uganda. We were so happy. But along the way, the ideas, the vision started deviating from the core value of the community transformation, where there's no transparency. Why? Most of the students, their marks go missing without clear reasons. Yet we have confidence in our education. Some of us, the only thing we have in this life is education. Out of education, we don't have any parent who is a general. We don't have any parent who is a powerful medic. Everything will start from us. But when our marks go missing, this is playing with our entire future. As Dickens and being elected now as the Guild President of Gulu University, I will ensure that there is transparency in our marks, there is accountability to everybody. Where when someone is having a missing marks, there should be a reason why the marks is missing. Not because our lecturers are too busy, because sometimes they go so busy in giving a space to our marks. A certain point would cause a lot of setback to our future. We leave most of the students not graduated in time. Others will miss graduation just because of missing marks. As Dickens, we are going to establish a justice committee where they will be handling the issue of the missing marks. Yes.
Thank you very much. I've had a recurring theme of the funding. So money is a very critical issue. How are you handling that budget to ensure that things are run properly?
Thank you so much. That is a great question, moderator. As far as the guild budget is concerned, I think priority first should be given to the issues that affect students directly. And in our budgetary process, somehow we should also make sure we save certain amount of money to improve certain projects that we have established to cater for students' welfare. Like, unfortunately, it has reached a point where that money, the guild fund, has been misused by our guild representative over the years. Like, for example, we can take an example under the 24th guild government. What happened is that they released like 5 million just for constitutional review. Constitutional review, 5 million, really? Under that 5 million, the people who are supposed to go through the process, they are not owed that many. Now, if we can come up with that much amount of money, I think we can channel that kind of money somehow to some of the projects that we are going to come up with. For example, if we have established a funding program for the student, we can say out of that 5 million, we pick some money, we keep as a reserve fund to cater for the aspect of tuition once it arises. I believe advocacy is still an effective tool to engage the administration, but oftentimes it has proved ineffective sometimes because you advocate for something, but you cannot say 100% it is going to be guaranteed that the students are going to be granted amnesty for them to sit for papers. But if you have a backup fund that you have been saving for the money that has been from the guild fund, I believe the cases of where we have students not sitting papers because of 200,000, as was in my case, and other people even 40,000, we would have eliminated that, even in an instance where the administration has decided not to listen to our voice.
Okay, thank you very much. If you as the guild, you've had the students, you have presented their concerns, the administration has not acted on it. What's your strategy?
All right, thank you so much, moderator. A quick one. A guild president is one that sits almost on all top management committees. That means it is you that is really taking up the voices of the entire university in top management. ranging from council. So that I think majorly also goes back to the kind of leader that goes there at that particular moment. What is your bargaining muscle? How much do you press? How much have you engaged each and every stakeholder when it comes to representing the students of Blue University? We have often seen this happen, whereby students really have things that are pressing them. They have told their leaders, but the leaders themselves have become hopeless. They have really reached an extent whereby they think there's nothing that can be done. They themselves have really lost the hope. So I think it's a moment whereby we have to mandate leaders that really think that everything can come to life if at all each and every stakeholder has been engaged. Because you cannot tell me you're sitting on students affair committee and you're not really putting forth the interest of the students. So what's your importance of you being on such a committee? So it really goes back to the kind of leaders that are there in that particular moment. Yeah, and how much have you engaged each and every stakeholder? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I complete probably all their tuition at a given point of time or throughout their experience in the university. What is your plan to help the students in that kind of financial aspect?
Yeah, thank you so much. We have policy that has been established already, zero tuition policy. And there's a called Fred Gidega. I cannot promise that at the moment. Maybe when they elected me as the guild president, I'm going to change that policy
We,
because it has been approved already. But now we are having students who are facing challenges. Statistically, you'll find every semester dropout cases. And it is very painful that someone who has studied from primary up to senior six joining university and dropping without getting degree. Now, the best strategy that we can use, since the policy is there, the guild president has power, probably toward exam, when it is approaching toward examination, and get the list of students who have not cleared their tuition. Probably he has paid 70% of the tuition. You write a commitment letter. It has been working, and these are the things that we feel we can engage the administration. They work on it. Then other options, there are other strategies that we can use, and if the guild government can have opportunity to lobby for resources for scholarship, it is very possible, and we have that engagement. And that is initiative that student can bring, like my colleagues was talking about the run. We can collect money from that, then we support those students. Because I remember last semester there were some few students from my faculty, they were facing challenges of tuition. We came on board, we started collecting money among ourselves, and this is a kind of initiative that we can bring. But above all, to address this, we can engage the administration, so that if someone has not completed tuition, please, some commitment letter, so that they clear the what? Someone do the exam, then later she can clear that. To avoid cases of dropout, parents are really suffering, because you will find that after someone is struggling, going and joining university, you'll find in year two, person drop out and coming on street like Anago. So we have heard of all these cases. Therefore, we
the guild president is the president of students. So that means equal representation for every one of the students. How will you ensure that there is equal representation and opportunities for students across all faculties and across the university?
First, the guild president is not the only student leader we have in the university. Every faculty have 4 GRCs as faculty GRCs. Every faculty have faculty leaders ranging from the faculty president, the academic secretary, up to Minister of Justice for that very faculty. There is a structure. Even people who have disability, there is a representative of disability in the guild, where one automatically become the minister, and then the other one state minister. The women are represented, privately sponsored, and government. That simply means everyone is actually represented in the guild. I think the reason is why other people feel as if they are not being represented is because the guild president normally put himself as the big man on top. And so he doesn't listen to the GRCs who are supposed to get first-hand information from ground. And you know, the guild president sits in the university council. The GRCs sit in the guild council. Issues from the guild council to be directed to the university council is only done by the guild president and the students representative to the university council. That simply means even when we have issues discussed in the guild council, if the guild president is not willing to listen to these people working under him as GRC because he think that is the man on top, then these are issues that will not be handled. That therefore simply means as a guild president, I will seek first to understand before I am understood.
Okay. Thank you very much. So it doesn't come to fruition, accountability wise. How can the students hold you accountable?
Thank you. I have so many plans that among those plans, at least some of them will come to pass in case, but I hope all of them should come to pass.
Okay.
Well, we're going to generate funding, as I told you, to ensure that students are represented and they get the funding to help them pay the tuition. It pains me that some people say it is impossible. I want to promise you that there's no any system in this life that cannot change. We can change the system. I am a student of history. Who knew that the 1789 French Revolution would change the trajectory of France? But it changed just because there was radical leaders. We have come into the world where we have leaders who are not radical. We have leaders who can easily be bribed. People doesn't want to talk about the 24th Guild government, but I am free to talk about it. Some of them who led us in the 24th Guild government, some of them, they were not able to present the students. Others could not talk. Yet students are suffering. And you come and tell me, I cannot change this, we can change this. We are going to negotiate to the administration and tell them the pain, the aspiration that is dying, the dreams of the students. In my class, we were 77. Today, we are 50. Where the 27 dropped out. We are saying tuition policy need to be negotiated to 70%. If Makerere can have 60%, what is the difference between Makerere and Gulu University? All of them are public universities. All of them are being funded by, all our tuition is collected by URA, straight to the government pool. And every university budget is being funded by the government. Why Gulu University is left out? Are we not the public university? Can't we have the 60%? We people, I'm honest to tell you this. We people from North, we suffered a lot. That any institution that is going to be brought in Northern Uganda, everyone should know that we are suffering. So we are going to negotiate and ensure that the 70% is given to students. Let their future be profound and get a better tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm going to have one that you've seen, or challenges, or inefficiencies, I would call them, in the previous governments, not necessarily the 24th, but the previous governments that you, in your 25th government, would address, and how would you change? What changes would you make if elected?
I have seen most leaders go silent in this past government, and yet they are being elected to represent the students. When I get into these offices, I will never go silent on what affects the students, because I am the student leader. Most of the governments have failed to provide to us accountability for the money we spend. Every student pays 20,000 shillings for the guild fee. We trust these leaders with all our money. None of them gave us a report. None of them published a report, and they are masquerading. We had a better guild. No, we need the report to prove the guild was better. Then another thing is that there's no transparency. People are not honest to themselves. I don't want to mention the government, but there was a government that people were running everywhere, chewing the money for freshers' ball. We have the recordings. People were running everywhere, yet students are suffering. The money could help fund the students' project. There is a money that is supposed to be in the deal, the 15 million you talked about, but you can never get this money. After the deal is done, you will never see anything in the treasury. Do that research, you never get them. And they tell us the deal has been okay. Allow me to appreciate one person. May his soul rest in peace. Pastor Joseph Okidi. He's my role model. Unfortunately, the day I was supposed to meet him, it was on Tuesday. We made an appointment on Friday. He died Tuesday night. His guild, when he was the guild president, he led with a clear report and accountability that he left 20 million in the account of the guild.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Where Pastor Kidi came from, it's a home of leadership and true leadership. May his soul rest in peace. And that is where I come from. That simply means faculty of education. That simply means I can be trusted. You see, the issue here in the guild is the guild has always failed to unite. There has been disunity. You find that it is either the guild, the team of the guild speaker, and the guild president. There is a GRCs who are going with the guild speaker. There are GRCs who are going with the guild president. So if anything is brought by either side, the other one ensure that it doesn't succeed. Even in the government that we have recently dissolved, such exists. Now, in situations where leaders cannot sit down, leaders who are fighting for a common interest cannot sit down, there will be no progress. There will be no transformation. Because even the Bible is clear that a house which is divided does not stand. So that this unity need to be handled with care. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
There's that excitement when someone entered in office and he or she can even forget for his or her role. You need to know your role as student leader and why you're there in that office. You need to understand the system, how it works, and how to penetrate the system. Because when you know all these, you will be able to understand and learn and really be able to engage the administration so that you deliver the service. One of the things that we have been facing, you'll find someone entering an office with excitement, doesn't know the role. So therefore, you need to know your role as student leader. Why are you coming? Representation, that is your role. What are you representing? The voice of student. You need to advocate and engage this administration of the university so that you deliver the service to the student. So these are some of the things that we fail as students. Excitement that come, and we don't know how the system works. Yes.
All right. So to make in terms of changes.
All right, thank you so much, moderator. As a matter of fact, I've been in a guild before
Okay.
as a GRC. So that means I've experienced and I've seen where the errors are and what to maintain and what to drop. When it comes to issues of changes, let's take this matter very seriously. One of the biggest challenges we have faced, which we really need to tackle, is an issue of poor decision making. Even the zero tuition policy, everyone is injecting in their manifestos, every student is crying about, was just a decision made by the university council where there is a guild president that represents there and another lady. So how I wish when that policy was being when it reached that time of implementation, the two representatives of students came back on ground and did a number of consultations before they became signatories on such a policy. So, and we have even witnessed it in the previous government. So often decisions are made, first of all, under pressures, whereby certain leaders cannot contain these pressures. So I really believe one of the biggest things that we have to change is how do we make our decisions? Have we really engaged the students that mandate us when it comes to a serious issue like that? Then other changes that would really think I would have to make When I was at GRC, one of my roles was to hold the executive accountable and make oversights. When you're GRC, only sit in the council, you're not part of the executive arm of the government. And so often we have had issues to do with accountability. The executive at certain moments could not account for the monies, how they are spent. And at certain moments, we found a number of mismanagement of funds. But how was the students' money accounted for? Even us GRCs could not sometimes really say something big. So what am I trying to drive home? We have had issues of gross corruption within the student guild. Yeah, other colleagues may not want to talk about them. But these are things personally I had to really fight hard, whereby you find student leaders at certain moments have connected with other people in administration, but you cannot raise up and really challenge them. Why? You don't have a policy that is protecting you. I really believe at certain moments, one of the policies, if I'm to implement one was I'm mandated, is the whistleblowers protection policy. This is one that will really help even if you're a student or any leader and you're found at certain moment mismanagement of the students' funds. Let you come up openly and no one can be able to pick you up from the crowd. So these are issues we really need to put into place. So as issues of accountability can no longer be an issue of the day and transparency really has to take place. So let us have a whistleblowers protection policy that will really help students and student leaders come up and challenge mismanagement of funds, and also let's improve on how our decision makings are done. I really believe we can have a better guild if such issues are tackled. Thank
Pertinent. It is something that shows that you are either working on the side of the students and you're not really working, or you are not really working on the side of students. And there are quite a number of examples that I can indicate. Because oftentimes, if you try to ask for accountability or you try to infer from certain acts of guild representative that they are being corrupt, what they ask you is that you have an evidence for that. But please also, can you provide us evidence of your budgetary process? Okay, if you're budgeting for a freshers ball, we have had very sad experiences with freshers ball. We had in one of the guild governments where the generator kept going on. Even the quality of stage was really bad, and yet there has been budget for freshers ball and those other things. But at the end of the day, the reason as to why we require accountability is for us to scrutinize the decisions, financial decisions that you've made. If you cannot tell me you're bringing each local artist at 1 million, come on, that can't be true. Therefore, we need your financial report on each of those activities that you plan for the students. It is important for us to know that you are working for us, not for yourself. I can give you an example. Recently, the president came, and according to what I was told by one guild representative, they will also ask me for an evidence that the president released like 4 million to organize the students of Gulu University. But when that money was released, that money kept quiet. And there are people who are emceeing, and what they said, they never even received their payment. I think one of the famous MCs at the university says, when he tried to raise issues about the matter, that is when they kept paying him small amount of money. Things like that, we need accountability for them. And I can also rightly state that last year we had elections, and in that election, 17 million, yes, was released for a budget of that election. But that evening, from the Electoral Commission's office, 3 million disappeared. And what was the impact of that? The impact was that ballots were printed less, one. Two, that the voters register was not printed. And those were the very grounds that one of the candidates used to actually take the university to court to account for those. And that had the guild actually provided an accountability on how that money was used, I think there would have been no much issue. And the other aspect that I would have improved, I will improve once I become the guild president. I would like to talk about student-funded projects. And very many students are creative in Gulu University to capacity of even paying themselves. I sympathize with the lady at Walbong who runs a chapat stall, and she uses that to pay herself. And that is a lady during our freshers ball. You are asking from her ground rent. Come on, what we expect, that lady needs to be supported so that she can continue to pay herself. And once elected, what I will ensure is that, first of all, I'll carry a survey. How many students have got very good projects? And what do they need? Do they need space? Do they need equipment? If we can be able to get that data, then we present before the university and write a proposal to support them and get a support fund for students who are unable to support themselves.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, I think some of us can be able.
Okay, we will come back to you. Thank you very much. If any of the the candidates does have any questions for the fellows, we shall be able to get that. I would immediately want to get you to the line. The number is 0393228680. We've had a number of people over our lines giving us calls.
My question is going to Honorable Thomas Sime. I've been hearing and I'm listening kind keen about what you are trying to bring on board. And something caught my attention about that students' concern. You had something concerning students' concern about the policies that is affecting them. And then for him, he mentioned that he will start bargaining, but as a student who knows how the policies of the universities work, how will Thomas Sime, who is coming as the guild president, convince me to bargain with the policies? Take, for instance, the tuition policies that is affecting the students at the moment, and then the functional fee increment that was levied on the all government students from 90 something thousand to 467 for a new entrance. How sure are you that you are going to convince me to accept that bargaining process can be effective for the betterment of the policies that is being implemented at school university?
Thank you very much.
There.
Okay, thank you. Let's keep our questions brief. We don't have a lot of time. Brief and straight to the point. We'll get like 2, 3. 100 FM. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, please. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam.
Yes, please. Who are we speaking to?
You are speaking to
Yes.
Oya from Plateau.
Okay.
My question is directed to Pius.
Okay, Mr. Pius.
Yeah, Pius was emphasizing about the guild project, which is of 15 million. Now, which I believe mathematically that the guild projects are dynamic, the budgeting is dynamic. Sometimes it goes up and sometimes it comes down. I remember for the 17 years of Gulu University, it was only at 5 million. But his information is based on the 24th bill, I think. So how is he sure that the money is going to be 15 million? How is the money of bill project being used for students? Are the project going to be left out? My question.
All right. Thank you very much.
You can see, education also say like that. Other faculties like that is because that is also used to say. Now my question is, faculty like the faculty of education after maybe the time for internship, they used to give them some half of the money they have already paid as maybe they are to cover for their welfare. Now, if they spend, there is no any benefit that we are going to gain out of that money. As a being president, any of them, maybe after the election, and we manage to be the president, how I think we are going to ensure that we are equally treated within the university here. And I would like to, that is the first question. As I hand on, I have to praise someone out of those countries, that is Saab. The guy is so confident. Why does this? That is the kind of leader we must take to represent us.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. Let's ask the questions. Let's ask the questions and allow the candidates to respond. Yes, we're not campaigning today directly. we're asking for those questions. Okay, one is the one that was first asked.
Major about bargaining in terms of policies. You know, once a policy is in place, it starts from the very first stage of initiation. And I think the last stage is one whereby most of us do not give key attention. After policy is implemented, there is usually the last stage, which is oversight. The last stage of a policy formulation, which is oversight, is whereby the student representatives, together with the administration, that is the top management, sit down and give a clear analysis of how much the policy has affected the people that, for example, how much a policy has affected the students. And let's say, an example, the zero tuition policy. If you reach on that stage of oversight, whereby we now review a policy, its advantages towards the reason as to why it was implemented and its negative effects, that is where the student leaders step in. It's the honors of a student leader, that is the president in particular, to clearly outline the reason as to why you really say that a particular policy, I think, is not good due to reasons A, B, C, D. And that would be your bargaining power. That is having information at hand on how much you really think a policy is not good. Once you are aware the reason as to why that policy is not good and you challenge it in that direction, that is your bargaining power. And that is how I would convince anyone outside there that my power would first of all rely on the knowledge upon a specific policy that is being reviewed. And that's how I will bargain, either to maintain it or to call it off. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Myers, you had a question directed towards you. Here you rest.
When I spoke about the 15 million shillings, you're aware the budget for the 25th guild has already been drawn, and that is the money allocated. That simply means the money is in the system. But also we understand that the guild budget is not fixed. It can be adjusted based on the priority. And I think that if there's any adjustment, then there must be an increment from 15 million to any other amount. Because every guild presidential aspirant is talking about the tuition. And I think that is the priority as per now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We had a question on internship.
As far as internship is concerned, I have been reading literature as far as the matters of internship is concerned, with especially medical students, the medical interns. It is really a pertinent issue. To an extent, previously we had demonstration by medical students as far as their internship allowance is concerned. And now, the latest development as far as internship is concerned with government students today. I was at the faculty of medicine. I was trying to interact with them as far as their allowances for internship is concerned. You realize that it is on July that the government has said that it is going to do away altogether with the internship allowances that medical students receive. And right now, as we speak, medical body like FUMSA, another medical association, they have petitioned Parliament on that particular matter. Now, I, as a guild president of Gulu University, how would I add our voice to advocate for our medical students? Because even services is being actually affected at Gulu Referral Hospital, because the morale of the intern, it is from that allowance that they use to actually fend for themselves, like provide for them lunch, accommodation, and things like that. And if you are to scrap that, it is really going to affect their work. And as a guild president, how would I advocate for medical interns? What am I going to do? What I'm going to do is, first, I would like to establish a data and a survey on how the scrapping of that allowance is going to affect the students. One, as I said earlier on, they use that money for accommodation, they use that money for food and to sustain themselves. The first thing, after establishing that data, we'll write a letter to the dean, and we copy we make a copy to the VC, and we also write a letter to Gulu Referral Hospital. We write a letter to the Minister of Health, and to the Ministry of Health itself, and to actually back up FUMSA in their struggle against the scrapping of allowance of medical students. We would like to show that the matter is even affecting our interns in Gulu University. And lastly, let me add this. Another thing is that right now, as medical students are concerned, there is a plan to actually include internship as a program and add it to the 5 years of medical students, which means you have to be, your status as a graduate will not be there. You'll be only recognized as a student, yet you're already an intern. That I think also will not be right, because the moment you have been removed from being, your status has been removed from being an intern, does mean it automatically a student, and therefore you are not entitled to that allowance. And that, as I stated earlier on, how we resolve it is to carry a survey and back up the voice of FUMSA and other medical association who have petitioned Parliament to show that that issue, even us in Gulu University, is affecting us.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. We want to close discussion before we give our parting shots. I want to give his view on his favorite candidate. Thank you. What is one university rule or policy that you would immediately review or change? One university rule or policy you would immediately change in your guild government? Anyone can pick up on that one as we get to close.
Well, thank you so much, moderator. Things to do with policies, as a guild president, you only have a seat at the council. And if it comes to the changing of policy, remember, much as I may have a voice, but it has to be democratic. Everyone in that council will have to vote on it. And as such, my voice might not be enough to change a policy, but it is important I talk against it if it is going to be against the students of Gulu University. And the last time I checked, the current policy that is serving is 2024 to 2025, and we have ended 2025, which means in the next guild government, we are likely going to have a fresh policy. And according to the National Tertiary Institutions Act, I may not quote the section exactly, it is stated that the policy is supposed to serve for 2 or 3 years. And after that, we're supposed to carry a policy review to see if truly indeed the policy is still serving its purpose. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for pointing that out. But I'm sure you've also noticed from the previous ones that this I do not stand firm on, or this really doesn't suit the
They're usually against the biggest stakeholder of the university. But there's this one in particular that really has caused a lot of issues among students, especially at the Faculty of Medicine, the step-out policy, whereby someone, if you have a retake, for example, you're in year 4, you have had a retake, you cannot be able to go to the next academic year if you have not, first of all, cleared that retake. It is really pressing people to walls. First of all, you have 5 years at the university, and they're adding you another 1 full year just because you have a retake in one paper and you have really excelled in other papers. I really believe this is one policy that we really need to start on. You know, we have the zero tuition policy, but at least this is most pressing. Someone really sitting down just because of one particular paper. But in these other faculties, people have retakes and have proceeded in other years, and they can come back and still do their retakes. So I really believe that is one I would really start with, if at all I'm mandated by the students of Gulu University. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Tumsimo. That's quite interesting, and it does affect a lot of students. And I think, would you be able to do that at a university level? Is it not from a higher kind of, authority? Just in one sentence, please.
All right, thank you so much. Most of these policies are being formulated at the top governing body of the university, that is the University Council. So I really believe this policy either to be reviewed or called off. It does not need you to, first of all, go to State House. As a matter of fact, as you being a member of
It has caused so many demonstrations in Gulu University, right from taking from where my colleague left, issues of stay put at the Faculty of Medicine. Many students were really crying, and it has caused demonstration. And these are the things that need to be addressed, because guild presidents sit at the council with the university top management. Therefore, some of these decisions made, and the guild president is among the people who make decisions. And we cannot promise that probably they are going to change it, but need to be reviewed. Because when something is against student, therefore it need to be reviewed. And at the moment, issues of tuition crisis and the stay put has been almost a cancer. It is really pressing students of Gulu University. That is why each and every time leaders who come, they feel that they advocate for that, so that they review the process. Our cry is that we need to advocate if they can review this policy, and it is possible because it is made by the Board of Council, of which the Guild President has right to talk about that. And these are the things that I, Godfrey Gideka, I feel we need to do it. And personally, I'm going to amplify the voice of students about that so that they review it. We keep on advocating. Then probably maybe just to add on, there are some other things that we need to probably work on it as student leader, like university they are not supporting the projects or student initiative. Like when you go to Faculty of Agriculture, you'll find there are many products being made at the Faculty of Agriculture. But you'll find in Gulu University, some of these products are there. University, they are not supporting. They are making drinks. They are making different kind of drinks, different kind of products at the Faculty of Agriculture. How can we transform the community if those students are not supported? And some of these students you will find they are making their snacks within the university. They get money if they are supported by the university. And sometimes out of that money, they pay their tuition. University needs support. Up to now, the drawings that is made at the Faculty of Agriculture is not yet certified by UNBS.
Okay. All right. So you would advocate for that.
Yeah,
Okay.
we need to advocate for that so that
Thank you very much.
Understand that there are biasness within the system. Sometimes a student might fail a paper, not because the student has failed, but because there was an intention from someone who is not perfect. The lecturers are not God. These people make mistakes. Now, if I believe that I have passed the paper and my result is actually showing that I have failed the paper, I think there should be a very simple process for me to be remarked, and then I find out if indeed what I got is right or not. Because trust me, not every student who come from the humble background can afford 150. Sometimes they now end up accepting that, let me go and retake the paper because where will I get 150? I think that need to be worked on.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Last but not least, Mr. Push this right here. Okay, let's take it. Yes.
Thank you so much. I've heard from all the Guild aspirants just to tell them the beacon of hope is a answer. We cannot amplify when there is no hope, reform, and that is why the beacon of hope is now the grandfather of all of them. Where I am going to advocate with a loud voice, negotiate with a loud voice about the tuition reform in Gulu University. I have watched students